All right, today we're jumping straight into the wild world of deepfake crime. There's a brand new study that gives us a fascinating map of the global battle against this AI-generated deception, and we're going to break it all down.
Think about that for a second. It's a simple question, right? But it gets to the absolute heart of the problem we're facing. Deepfakes? They don't just create fake videos. They attack the very foundation of trust. They're designed to blur that line between what's real and what's just a really sophisticated AI-powered lie.
Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page here, what is a deepfake? You can think of it as a high-tech digital forgery. Basically, using artificial intelligence, someone can seamlessly swap one person's face onto another's body in a video, or they can go even further and create totally fake audio and video from the ground up.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at how this whole thing just exploded. Then we'll dive into the three main fronts of this war: the fight against disinformation, the battle to protect people from personal harm, and this crazy technological arms race happening behind the scenes. And at the end, we'll see what the road ahead looks like.
You know, it's wild to think that deepfakes didn't really start out as this big, scary criminal tool. They were more of a technical curiosity, something for hobbyists and researchers to play with. But man, in just a few short years, they've spiraled into a full-blown societal crisis. And now, researchers and lawmakers are basically in a mad scramble to catch up.
And this graph, wow, this tells the whole story. If you look back before 2019, research on deepfake crime was practically zero. Nobody was really writing about it. But then, just look at that spike. It's a rocket ship. By 2024, we're talking over 100 publications in just 1 year. This isn't just a bunch of academics getting interested. This is the world's alarm bells going off in response to a threat that is escalating incredibly fast. Okay, let's get into the first of these three fronts. And this one is huge. We're talking about the war on truth itself. This is where deepfakes are used as a weapon to manipulate public opinion, to mess with elections, and just to tear down trust on a massive societal scale. Now, this map from the study is super interesting. It basically visualizes all the different research topics. And if you look at that big red cluster of keywords right there, that is the disinformation front. You can see how it connects the main idea of deepfakes directly to all the tools and consequences of what you'd call information warfare. And when you zoom in on those keywords, the focus is crystal clear. You've got disinformation, misinformation, fake news, and notice how social media is right there in the mix? That's no accident. Social media platforms are the jet fuel for this stuff, designed to make content, whether it's real or totally fake, go viral. So we're not talking about fooling just one person. The goal here is to deceive millions all at once. This brings us to a really dangerous, kind of subtle idea called the liar's dividend. And honestly, this might be the biggest threat of all. It's not just that you might believe a fake video is real. The real danger is that because deepfakes exist, bad actors can now claim that real evidence is fake. Just imagine, a politician is caught on camera saying something awful. In the past, that was it. Game over. But now, they can just say, nope, that's a deepfake. It gives them plausible deniability, and it just completely poisons the well of trust.
So we've talked about the big, societal level. Now let's bring it all the way down to the deeply personal. This is the second front, the fight for individual safety. This is where deepfakes are weaponized not against society, but to harass, exploit, and abuse a single person.
Okay, so we're back to our research map, but this time, look at the green cluster. The conversation here shifts completely. We're moving away from mass manipulation and into the territory of intimate, personal violation. You can see the main deepfake node is now tied directly to ideas of personal identity and direct harm. Yeah, the keywords here tell a much darker story. You see words like face, and then the most disturbing one, revenge pornography. This front is absolutely dominated by the creation of non-consensual porn, where a victim's face is digitally attached to explicit material. The psychological and reputational damage this causes, it's just immense. And here's what makes this a complete nightmare for victims. The law just hasn't caught up to the technology. In so many places, creating this kind of synthetic abuse is still a legal gray area. There aren't clear laws against it, so victims are left with almost no way to fight back, facing this horrible personal violation that our legal systems just don't know how to handle yet.
All right, on to our third and final front. This one is happening almost entirely behind the scenes, hidden from public view. It's the technical battle, the battle of the algorithms. It's a full-on arms race between the people building these deepfakes and the people trying to detect them.
And if we go back to our map one last time, that blue cluster is this technological battleground. This is the domain of the computer scientists, the engineers, the AI researchers. They're the ones in the digital trenches trying to build the defenses against this stuff.
So the key words here are all about the tools of the trade, right? You see artificial intelligence and deep learning, which funnily enough are used to both make and fight deepfakes. And then you have terms like deepfake detection and feature extraction. That's basically the science of spotting the tiny, almost invisible digital fingerprints that give away a fake.
So you can really think of this as a direct conflict. On one side, you have generative AI. That's the weapon. And it's getting scarily good, creating more realistic fakes every single day. And on the other side, you have detection AI. That's the shield. And it has to constantly change and adapt just to have a chance of keeping up.
And the most important thing to understand here is that this isn't a battle that's going to be won anytime soon. It is a constant, escalating arms race. It's a cat-and-mouse game. As soon as the good guys develop a new way to detect fakes, the bad guys figure out a way around it. And the whole cycle starts over again.
Okay, so we have these three massive fronts raging all at once. So what now? Where do we go from here? Well, one thing the research makes perfectly clear is that no single country can solve this alone. This has to be a global effort.
And this map of international collaboration really drives that point home. You can see these major research hubs in the US, in China, all across Europe, and they're all working on this often together. The lines between them show a truly global network of scientists, policymakers, and ethicists all trying to figure this thing out.
So let's wrap this up. What are the big takeaways here? First, remember that deepfake crime isn't just one thing. It's a three-front war: disinformation, personal harm, and that tech arms race. Second, even though the research has exploded, it's still very much a game of catch-up with the technology. And finally, and this is key, there's no single silver bullet. The only way forward is with a mix of better tech, much stronger laws, and frankly, all of us being more aware and more critical of what we see online.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of unsettling question to think about. Yeah, the detection tools are getting better all the time. But what happens when we reach a world of truly perfect fakes? Fakes that are completely indistinguishable from reality. In that world, is technology alone really enough to restore our trust in what we see and hear?